Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules here for WhatCulture.com with another episode of the most insane things happening in wrestling this week. The show that does exactly what it says on the tin in the most annoying way possible. You're welcome. Now, as per usual, we have a ton to get on with and a healthy giraffe skit to fit in to push it into that 10-minute YouTube ad revenue sweet spot, baby! So let's hit that intro. So let's get the horrible stuff out of the way first and talk about Saudi Arabia and their love of dismembering journalists, it seems. Yeah, it's kind of a dark time for the country at the moment, having their public image dragged through the toilet because of their quite horrible treatment of people. Now, if you're not aware of this, then I'm probably not the best person to fill you in on all the details, but the cliff notes of it are, journalist went missing, turned up dead, he's been dismembered. Possibly while he was still alive. Pretty nasty, and therefore the WWE and their relationship with the country and their pay-per-view Crown Jewel, no one's really sure what's going on with that anymore. It's all very, very, very f***ing shady, the fact that the WWE may still go ahead and do the pay-per-view in the country because of their long-term oily cash deal, and that sets a horrible tone that they would literally look death in the face and just take cash to just sweep it under the table. And I see a lot of people online saying, oh, you know, it doesn't really matter, it's blah, 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 it's just a journalist gone missing. There's a human life that's just been ended, and no one knows why. We probably shouldn't just be sweeping this under the rug. Just saying. I'm not going to tell you what to think. That's the information. Do with it what you will. However, long story short, it is insane to see where the country is, where the WWE is, and how they're going to meet in the middle. However, their stance on the matter has not been so in your face as JBL's has. He said this on the Fox News business show that he frequently appears on. When asked what the WWE should do in retaliation to the events that have been going on, he said the following. WWE, yeah, coming again to save the mother day, yeah. Oh, John, that's not a good start, bud. And then he said, my personal opinion is that they should go. You isolate a country, all you do is impoverish that country. It's Saudi Arabia, John. I think they're going to be fine. He then followed up with, WWE went to Abu Dhabi. They did the first women's match that ever happened in the Middle East. Well, technically, TNA beat you to it by a couple of years. But you know what? WWE did it purely for the good of mankind, so guess we'll let him off on that. Like I said, I am a moral grey area at best, and I ain't gonna tell you what to think. That is the information from me to you with a kiss. Do with it what you will. Moving on. And speaking of people with fingers in their ears going, la 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 la, I can't hear you, what dead journalist, let's talk about Stephanie McMahon, the only woman I know who gives herself a facelift every time that she comes to the ring. How tight is her ponytail? It makes her face look like a puckered arsehole. Now, we got a good example this week of another in a many long line of examples of how weirdly blinkered her life is when she stood there in the middle of the ring and just said, well, why are you all booing me? Why are you cheering Shane? Why don't I get any love? Are you f***ing kidding? I don't know, Steph, maybe it's because you've got the heart of a sandpaper android. Also the fact that you shit on every wrestler that you happen to be in the ring with. Maybe it's because of the fact that you're about as wanted as I was when I was a kid, aka not. But she does have one redeeming feature though. It's kind of like that Family Guy situation where the ugly girl stands next to Meg and everyone just goes like, oh my God, Meg, did you get less ugly? It's kind of like that, but whenever she gets another person into the ring, they automatically become a face. It's brilliant. Like, usually I canny stand Shane McMahon and his little jiving and shucking, hey, I'm a dad, look at my shoes, with his weirdly inflated, deflated Cabbage Patch Kid face. Canny stand him. But when he's against Steph, I'm like, Shane! Shane! Still though, absolutely insane to see how the $1 billion princess just doesn't have any sense of social awareness. It's brilliant, isn't it? Actually though, on a side note, SmackDown 1000, pretty f***ing good. Oh, Austin Aries, you maniac little midget, what are you like? So you might remember last week on the show, I read out some of his tweets that were, spicy at the best of times, and it was basically him having a go back at Johnny Impact for, well, short-shaming him. I'm sure that Phil put in a lovely clip of me reading it out right now. Bad. So, if I joked race, retards, your gay look, or if I fat-shamed your husky wife, instant outrage, but you can predictably cut on me over my height. So, as you can see, he was quite a bit peeved there. But begrudgingly, he did drop the title to Johnny Impact on this week's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. I say begrudgingly because as soon as the 3 count was registered, he popped back up, climbed out of the ring, said like that, gave everyone the finger, said off to Johnny Impact, then walked off into the sunset. And the crowd was left absolutely flabbergasted. The ref, Johnny Impact, sitting there just going like, I just hit you with Starship Pain, mate. Could you sell it for maybe just a microsecond longer? But he was just like, nah, off. I'm off now. See ya. Contract's up. Don't give a care about the future. Nah, I can only see about this far in front of my face. You would have thought that his love for the fans, his love for the sport would have meant that he would have just stayed down for 10 minutes more. It doesn't matter if your contract's up. You just sell for the sake of selling. But no, he decided to just throw his hot piping piss in the face of everyone because of the fact that he didn't like being called short. Well, you know what, you little imp? You can't do that. So I'm going to bring out a nice little thing for you because we're going to laugh in your face, or as I like to call it, Captain Smugwash. The moment was, as you might expect, absolutely mental, and this mutton chop madman's career is now completely much like his own acrobatic skills, up in the air. Zing, zing, zing. But you know what? This little mental midget that's causing fuss by flipping off the fans and then flipping out? Oh, are you having a giraffe?
Greg is my friend. Got your head.
It was unbelievably painful.
Oh, I don't feel so good, mate.
Oh, wash it down.
You know what would go really well with some really cheap toilet wine? Greg! I love you, Simon Miller. I love you, Sorman Miller. Wait a minute, where am I? Phil? Get up! Get up! Get up. I think I'm having a crack zen.
Yeah.
Where I suddenly feel like I'm completely sober even though I've definitely done a lot of crack. I think I've come to a revelation.
Huh?
I think the reason that we can't kill anyone is because you're the problem. Phil, I hate to say this, mate. You're fired. You're fired as my friend. You're fired as my sidekick. I'm kicking you out of the Beard Boys Club.
Why? Oh.
No, sorry, I just needed my hat back.
Huh.
That was really awkward. That was really awkward.
Cause I can run as fast as I can to the middle of nowhere, to the middle of my first street, Phil. Cause I swear you're just like a Phil. You're making me better. You're making me Phil. You're making me Phil.
I need you, Phil.
And now welcome to the Philosophical Corner.
Who creates more shows than they watch?
Oh, Phil, you are like a French tickler in my underpants, but in my brain. Also, it's Vince McMahon because he's never watched an episode of NXT. My back hurts. Now, we have to admit that Vince probably does have a busy schedule, what with running the two main brands, wiping the crude oil off of Linda's hands and onto their prospective young female talents across the board. And terrifying the rest of them with his sheer presence. But you would have thought that he would at least take some time out of his day to watch, I don't know, the best thing that your company produces. NXT is a goldmine. I know, like I sound like I am sucking it off, but it truly, truly is. And I will tell you for why. The smaller crowds and the more intensive experiences that these young people get is so fundamental to developing what makes a great wrestler of tomorrow. The best thing is they listen to what the fans like and they don't like. You see characters picking up, dropping stuff, pausing to take in everything around them. That's really important. You don't necessarily get the chance to do that on the main roster because, well, let's face it, every single creative decision is kind of taken out of their hands. You get branded by Vince and company and you have to stay in that wheelhouse until the day you die, or like Natalia, you fart and shit yourself. But the thing is, he could learn so much from actually just watching his own show. I mean, take Bayley, for example. She's kind of floundering on the main roster because fans are so cynical of her, because this whole sort of like, I'm happy all the time, I'm happy that, it comes across as fake. Back in NXT, it was more nuanced. There was layers to it. You could see that she could break, and now, and this is just like, you're a wet blanket. He would also realise that Bobby Roode needs to be a heel. That glorious, over-the-top pomposity is heel stuff. We're not cheering him in the same that we love to boo him. Come on, Vince. Yeah, it's absolutely mental, but it's kind of par for the course for the man who dropped the N-bomb to John Cena and then walked past Booker T. Shucky duck, quack quack indeed. Right, to round off the slagging match against the WWE royal family, I do seem to have gone for every single McMahon. Let's finish with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, aka and the fact that he basically slagged off the UK. The UK is a very, very important territory to wrestling. I know we are small. I know that we are nowhere near as big as some of the other territories, but we have some of the fiercest, most dedicated fans ever and some of the most talented wrestlers in the world. I'm not just saying that because I am from here. I have witnessed it firsthand. Now, the problem is that Triple H this week went on and did a nice little interview, but he dropped a sort of weird attack at the UK. Especially seeing as he's just launching the NXT UK division properly, God hopes it's properly at least anyway, by saying this. I always hear about Wembley. I always hear it was such a massive success. It was not. Now, SummerSlam 1992 was held in the UK at the Wembley Arena. It is the second or third most highest ever attended WWE event. I'm sorry that we tore the house off when Davey Boy picked up the IC title off Bret Hart. I'm sorry that Hulk Hogan wasn't there because he cheated on your company and Bret Hart was doing the wonders to the mid-card to elevate your entire company at that event. I'm sorry that wasn't enough of the entire truckload of merch that we shifted for you at that. I'm sorry, Triple H. We're just not good enough, are we? It's an absolute take. And it really annoyed me. It really annoyed me, actually. Because SummerSlam 1992 is actually probably one of my favourite pay-per-views of all time. Easily one of the best IC matches I've ever seen. But yeah, apparently it wasn't good enough. Apparently it wasn't good enough. You've done yourself a misstep, mate. I'm using your wife's name in negative context. What are you going to do, you bold? Bring it on. Well, that is if you can find time in your busy schedule of DX, Evolution, and running NXT UK. Why do you have to be on everything? Maybe you're the problem. Sorry, it's getting personal now. Just saying, if you come here, in this office, I'll fucking do you like Scottish cuisine and I'll batter you. I won't. He'll destroy me. But I like to look tough online. And there we go, those are the most insane things happening in wrestling this week. Now to close out the show, the only way I know how, by reading my favourite comments from last week's episode, and there were quite a few. We have one from Liam Bethnal, who says, the Having a Giraffe skit was better scripted than most WWE promos. It's not hard, but thank you very, very much. Then we had the Jeffrey J. Jones, who said, watching The Undertaker age is like watching Superman die for me. Yes, it is, my man, and that's why he needs to hang up the leathers. Correct? I know it sounds harsh, but it's true. Then we had Phil Bryland, who said that hashtag having a giraffe was terrible. Oh, but I couldn't quit laughing. Oh. Jules, are you having a giraffe? Yeah, constantly. I kind of want the gimmick to die now. And then we had John Chambers, who said, t-shirt on point. Maybe I'll ask your mum for one at Christmas. Yes. Well, he's referring to the fact that the One Per List shirt is now available. Phil will put up a lovely link on here, or he'll direct you to my Twitter, where you can go buy it for yourselves. Plug, 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 plug. And if you wonder where the giraffe t-shirts are, maybe stay tuned for a little bit, because maybe they'll be leading somewhere with the Have a Giraffe segment. Maybe. Who knows? Got to the 10-minute mark yet? Sweet. Right, time to close out the show. The only way I know how by saying thank you so much to Michael Sidgwick and Phil Chambers for their continued work on this show, as well as to you at home for watching. Thank you so much. You give me a giraffe each and every week. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.